Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I also wanted to ask your reaction to the reports that we have heard about in the last day regarding Governor Cuomo, what Lizzie Boylan has alleged took place during that airplane trip and during her time working for the Cuomo administration. I wanted you to react specifically to what she is alleging, and if I could also ask you what you think should happen in this moment. You've talked recently about what it's like to be bullied by the governor. You've described that these are some of the behaviors and the way that he tends to treat people. So I wonder if you think that this is also a part of the problem and what you believe should happen next.
Gloria, look, these allegations are really disturbing. Let's be clear about that. They're really disturbing. We have to, as New Yorkers, we got to take this seriously. When a woman comes forward with this kind of very specific allegations, they have to be taken seriously. We need a full and independent investigation. I want to emphasize the word independent. Investigation by some individual or entity that is not compromised, is not something that is dominated by the governor's office, but an independent investigation, because this is just unacceptable. This kind of behavior, if it's true, is unacceptable in any public servant, anybody. So we got to get the truth about this. Go ahead.
The next is Henry from Bloomberg.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Henry. Starting my day with kids coming back to school, it does not get better than that, honestly.
Well, that's good to hear. I wanted to ask you about the choice of certain zip codes as priority zip codes versus not priority zip codes. Because when you look at the city data, and I admit I'm looking at data that's about a week old, you see certain neighborhoods that have very low vaccination rates, like Hell's Kitchen or Rosedale, Queens, or Laurelton, Rosedale, that are not priority areas. East Williamsburg and Williamsburg, these are low vaccination rate areas, and they're not high priority areas according to the city. Crown Heights, Brooklyn. And I'm just wondering why there's a little, Borough Park is another one, Crown Heights, why there isn't a connection, why there is a disconnect between some of these neighborhoods that have very low vaccination rates and they're not high priority neighborhoods for
Henry,
vaccine sites.
I appreciate the question, but I don't want there to be a misinterpretation of the work that's going on. Crown Heights is a great example. We have a health department vaccination site in Crown Heights. The fact is, when we defined, based on everything we experienced with this entire coronavirus crisis, the sharp disparities where we had lost the most fellow New Yorkers, where the impact had been the most horrible, and on top of that, the history of poverty and other challenges, that's where we put the focus, to get out there with not full total resources that we'd like to have yet. We don't have the supply we'd like to have, but with the supply we do have, trying to make sure we focus on the places where the impact was the worst, because that's where you have to do the most work to protect lives. But at the same time, all the communities that you're talking about, we have ongoing efforts to reach, and vaccination sites in and around those communities. And this is just the beginning. When we get the supply we need, we will be doing 500,000 vaccinations a day. We will be adding sites more and more deeper into communities. I'd like to go beyond 500,000 vaccinations a day, and I think we can do that. So we're still some weeks away from having the kind of supply we deserve, but there's no question in my mind. We're reaching all of the communities you named in different ways, and we're going to be able to do a lot more when we have supply.